One night in 1889, a Kentucky family left dinner and vanished like vapor. The food was hot on the table, the money was in the box, 5 people were gone. 135 years later, there are still no answers. America's Most Mysterious Family Disappearances, 1889. November 1889. The small town of Harrodsburg, Kentucky. A family, mother, father, 3 children, went to bed after dinner. The next morning, the neighbors opened the door and saw that no one was home. The dinner table was set. Candles were burning. Food was hot on the stove. But the 5 people seemed to have vanished into thin air. Even today, 135 years later, they are still missing. In today's video, we'll delve into the darkness of that night, through old court records, newspaper archives, and eyewitness accounts. The year is 1889. America is in the midst of the Industrial Revolution. Eastern cities are growing, but southern states like Kentucky are still largely rural and isolated. Harrodsburg, Kentucky's first permanent European settlement. Population just a few thousand. Everyone knows everyone. It's hard to keep a secret, yet this town is home to one of the most bizarre family disappearances in American history. Samuel Beauchamp. Age 42. Farmer and small businessman by profession. Regular member of the local church. Known to his neighbors as a quiet, hard-working man. His wife Margaret Beauchamp, age 38, taught children in the town school. Beloved by all. They had 3 children, Thomas, age 15, Eliza, age 12, and little William, only 7. The life of these 5 was simple, but happy. Their home was on Beaumont Road, a little out of town, but not isolated. Samuel Beauchamp. Age 42. Farmer and small businessman by profession. Regular member of the local church. Known to his neighbors as a quiet, hard-working man. His wife Margaret Beauchamp, age 38, taught children in the town school. Beloved by all. They had 3 children, Thomas, age 15, Eliza, age 12, and little William, only 7. The life of these 5 was simple, but happy. Their home was on Beaumont Road, a little out of town, but not isolated. November 14, 1889. Margaret worked her last day at school. Her colleagues said she seemed a little worried that day. But about what? When asked, she said it was a family matter. Samuel went to the grocery store in town that afternoon. The storekeeper, Isaac Bray, later testified that Samuel did a little shopping that day. Meat, bread, apples. As if preparing for a big party. But there was no party. At 7 in the evening, neighbor Dorothy Hayes Beauchamp walked by the house. She saw a light burning in the window of the house, Samuel sitting on the porch, smoking a pipe. The two shook hands. At 9 in the evening, another neighbor, James Carroll, passed by the house with his horse. He also saw the light in the house. He heard the sound of a child laughing from inside. No one saw them again. November 15, 1889. 8 o'clock in the morning. Dorothy Hayes noticed the Beauchamp family's 2 cows mooing. They had been kept unmilked. Samuel never did that. She knocked on the door. There was no answer. The door was open. She went inside and saw 5 dishes laid out on the dining table, the food served but not eaten. A pot of soup was heating on the stove, now cold but not burnt. In Margaret's bedroom, her shoes were arranged, her clothes were spread out on the bed. In Thomas's room, his schoolbook was open, as if he had been reading. Little William's toys were strewn about the floor. But no one was there. 5 people were gone. Dorothy almost fainted. She ran to the sheriff. Sheriff Amos Crawford and 3 deputies arrived. They searched the entire house. There was no blood. No sign of vandalism. No sign of a struggle. The ground outside was soft from the rain. But there were only the family's footprints around the house, no outsiders. The strangest thing, the family's 2 horses, 2 cows, and a chicken coop were all there, nothing taken. Samuel's money box contained $38, a large sum at the time. It was not handed over. If someone leaves voluntarily, they take money. If they forcefully take them, they bleed. So what happened? The next day, the Harrodsburg Weekly Gazette published the story. A family of 5 disappeared overnight, no reason, no sign. The news spread throughout Kentucky. The Louisville Courier-Journal sent reporters within 3 days. The townspeople were divided. One group said the family had run away on their own. The other group said someone had removed them. The first suspect in the investigation was Caleb Thornton, Samuel's business partner. The 2 had been in a land dispute for months. Sheriff Crawford questioned him. Thornton said he had been in Louisville that night. 3 witnesses confirmed it. The alibi was clear, but many did not believe it. The second suspect is Reverend Ezekiel Moore, a local church pastor. He had an affair with Samuel that later came to light. A few weeks earlier, Samuel had taken a large loan from the church. But why? Where did the money go? Reverend Moore said it was a completely private and confidential matter, and refused to say anything else. A third mysterious clue was provided by grocer Isaac Gray, who was not in the first report. On November 13th, the day before the disappearance, a stranger came to town. Wearing a long, black coat. He had gone to see Samuel. Who was this man? He was nowhere to be found. Sheriff Crawford investigated for 4 weeks. A sniffer dog was used to search. The dog stopped 2 miles from the house by the river. A search of the river turned up no bodies. He was sent to neighboring counties, but no one had seen the family. The U.S. Marshal Service was notified, and a federal investigation was opened, but there was no FBI in those days, and the scope of a federal investigation was limited. The investigation was eventually closed, without any answers. Investigators and historians have offered various theories about the possible explanations for this mystery. The first theory is that the family fled on their own. Some historians believe that Samuel had debts, a business dispute. Maybe he went west under a new identity. It was not uncommon in America at that time, when people changed their names and started a new life in Wyoming or California. But the problem is that he left money, left horses, and had food to eat. If he had planned his escape, he would have organized that much. The second theory is that of murder and hiding the body. At least this is the most plausible one for investigators. It is difficult, but not impossible, to kill 5 people and hide the body, especially if more than one person was involved. The technology to search rivers, ponds, and deep forests at that time did not exist. But why? Did Samuel know or see something that someone wanted to bury? The third theory revolves around religious secret societies. In the 1880s and 1890s, several secret religious sects were active in the American South and Central America, luring people with the lure of a new life. Reverend Moore's role in this context becomes even more questionable. But there is no direct evidence. The fourth theory is the most popular among the general public and is what later turned the mystery into folklore. Locals said that the area was an old burial ground, sacred to Native Americans. We are certainly not calling this a scientific explanation, but this aspect is important for understanding how society's fear and belief develop around an unsolved mystery. The fifth and most profound theory is political. In 1889, there was political tension in Kentucky. Secret white terrorist groups were active in the South after the Reconstruction era. Was Samuel Beauchamp a witness to any crimes? Did he take any political positions? A letter in local newspaper archives mentions that Samuel sent a complaint to the county registrar 2 weeks before his disappearance. The original copy of that letter has not been found. In 1891, 2 years later, the house was sold at auction. The new owner didn't stay there for more than a month, saying he heard strange noises at night. The house changed hands 4 times over the next decade, and was finally torn down in the 1920s. In 1890, the Louisville Courier-Journal ran a special feature on the mystery. In 1905, an author wrote a novel about the incident. It was later featured in several true crime magazines throughout the 20th century. In 2019, exactly 130 years later, a group of amateur detectives and historians revisited the case. They found old court records in the Kentucky State Archives. They mentioned an old case against Caleb Thornton, a land fraud case against another family. But the evidence was insufficient. The mystery remains unsolved. Samuel, Margaret, Thomas, Eliza, William Beauchamp. 5 names. 5 lives. 1 night. For 135 years, they have been a question mark in the pages of history. The saddest part of history is, many truths are lost forever. There are no answers. Only questions. But these questions need to be remembered, because these were 5 people. They had lives, they had loves, they had dreams. They were not just a mystery, they were people. Which theory do you think is the most plausible? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel. In the next video, we will discuss the Sodder children mystery of 1885. It's even more terrifying.